Hello and welcome back to Princess Pudding Plays. So, if you didn't watch the last episode, it was just me sharing what's going on in life and that not everything is absolutely amazing, but not everything is terrible. There is a ton to be thankful and happy for. Um, and of course, this is the same recording session. So, again, if you hear my boyfriend yelling at his game, it is because he is a very passionate person. And I do apologize. It may not be picking up on the microphone, but I'm not entirely certain until uh, I go back and listen. But today I wanted to tell you guys a story about when I first got my dog. So I know I've talked about her in the past. I know I talked about her in the previous episode or video. She is a Alaskan Malamute. I have had her for 5 years now, or I've had her for 4 years, 4.5 years, and she's 5. So I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about how I got her and when she was a puppy, what it was like to first have her. I don't know if you know, but Alaskan Malamutes can be pretty pricey. At the time, I was living in Alaska, so definitely easier to come by an Alaskan Malamute. That doesn't change the fact that they are still pretty pricey. They are big dogs, so they are a lot to take care of and a lot to breed. So that's definitely accounted for in their price tag. And then they're just kind of a rare breed. Not a lot of people have them. They're definitely not as common as maybe pit bulls or chihuahuas, or even huskies are pretty common. Malamutes, not so much. So I had always wanted a big fluffy dog. However, I had never considered getting one realistically just because of how expensive Samoyeds or Mastiffs or Malamutes, even Huskies could be. And so I just, never really thought about it too much. However, there was a couple that lived on an Air Force base up there, and because when you live on base, you can only have 2 dogs. When they purchased this third dog and someone found out, they had to sell her or they were going to be evicted. And of course, they decided to sell her, and they sold her for a very reasonable price just because they knew they had to get rid of her. And so this was my opportunity to get the Alaska Malamute that I've always wanted without having to bust my wallet. I definitely had help from my mom to get this dog, but it would have never had happened had she not been sold at such a reasonable price. So when I went to go get her, her name was Kahlua at the time, which did not sit well with me. So I thought about it for a little while, and I've always really loved the movie Alice in Wonderland. And so her being such a curious puppy and getting into things, not necessarily like getting into things in a bad way and tearing things up, but she was almost like a cat. She was very, very curious. And she has such a unique personality and a kind heart that it just fit well. And so we named her Alice. And of course, yes, we lived in Alaska at this time, so it was a wonderful snowy wonderland for her, which she absolutely adored. And we had about an acre of land that she would run all over the place on. And usually we would just let her off leash to run around so she could, play and do her business. And usually she would come inside. She was very well behaved, even for a puppy. But there was one day where she just absolutely refused to come inside, no matter how much we called her. And it was getting late and super cold. I think it was definitely like 20 degrees, 10 degrees. And by the time it reaches night, it gets to be the negatives. So I was kind of freaking out. I had never had a dog like this. I know that you can leave them outside, but I didn't want to leave her outside. Dogs like her definitely do get stolen. So I was freaking out and I was trying to get her inside, and I chased her around the house for almost an hour before my mom came home, and she was like, "What are you doing? You're gonna get frostbite." And I was freaking out, melting down. And as soon as my mom went to go catch her, she kind of like laid over on her side and, and like, I guess tried to play dead. Oh, she was in huge trouble, but it was such a relief to get her inside. Oh, there's another one. It was such a relief to get her inside, but she was very much in big trouble. She's never done that since then, but it's something I can also never forget. In retrospect, it was funny, but at the time I was so worried and I didn't know what to do, and I thought I was never going to catch her and that she was never going to come inside and that it was going to get too cold and someone was going to steal my dog. But it ended up being just fine. There was another time we had a large reclinable couch. Every part of the couch reclined, and either side of the couch reclined electrically, but then the middle part of the couch reclined, I guess it's a spring system, but if you've ever had a recliner like that, when you push at the end of it, it goes back in. Well, we were all laying on the couch watching a movie, and very early on, Alice had decided that popcorn is her favorite snack. She absolutely loves popcorn. And of course, because we're watching a movie on the couch, we were eating popcorn, and she wanted to hop up and join the rest of us. And because all of our favorite spots were towards the ends of the couch, the middle is what was open. And so as she goes to hop up on the couch, she hops at the very end of it and it collapsed. It didn't collapse all the way, but it collapsed just enough for her to fall. Oh my gosh. I have never seen a dog be embarrassed before. She was so embarrassed when she flopped over that she had to leave. She went downstairs to go to her crate because she was so embarrassed. Myself, my mom, my sisters, we were all laughing because we couldn't believe that she had flopped the way she did. It was almost like a cartoon the way she had flopped off the couch. But she was so embarrassed from the way that we were laughing that she had to go hide herself in her crate. I felt so bad. I also couldn't stop laughing, but I definitely felt super bad because I'd never seen a dog so embarrassed before. Um, there have also been, she's also a very super sweet dog. We had gone to a family gathering sort of deal with my dad's coworkers, and a couple of them just had newborn babies. And the moms had set up a play mat on the ground for the babies to like crawl around on. And of course, Alice just can't help but be the center of attention and flopped herself on the ground next to them. And the moms were just so concerned. This huge dog was so close to their babies. And I was like, oh, don't worry about it. She's super sweet. She just wants them to pet her. I don't think she really understands that they're babies. She just wants people to pet her. And I guess because they are on the ground, she thinks that that's going to be her best bet. But of course, the babies being babies, they just crawled all over her and like tugged on her hair and like drooled on her, and it didn't matter. She was just so in love with them. She laid as still as possible and let those babies crawl all over her. It was the sweetest thing. I wish I got a picture. I definitely didn't, but I wish I had because it was the sweetest thing. Trying to think of some other stories about Alice. She also used to have, when we first got her, she used to have really bad separation anxiety. Now that she is older and I have worked with her, she still like gets sad, but she definitely doesn't have the anxiety that she had in the past. There was one time, it's kind of funny in retrospect now, but definitely at the time it was not so funny. She had torn up all of the carpet that was next to the door, including the padding that was underneath. And then she chewed on the doorknob until it was definitely not a sphere anymore. It was definitely mangled beyond what a doorknob should be, and I had never seen a dog do that before. I had definitely never had a dog as powerful as her before. So I don't think I've owned a dog before her that was more than 15 pounds. So going from that to almost a 90-pound dog with separation anxiety, I had no idea that something like that was going to happen, and I was in so much trouble, and she was in so much trouble. And it was just so crazy to think that she had done so much damage. However, I look at other videos and seeing dogs that do that all the time just because they're bored. I realized that my dog had done it because she was anxious. And I definitely can't blame her for it. And she's never done it again. But it was so crazy for a while. Like, her nickname was just Carpet Eater, because so much of the carpet that she had torn up was just kind of gone. And so her nickname for quite a while was Carpet Eater. On eating things that she's not supposed to, note, she is in love with stinky socks. Preferably socks that she can fit in her mouth. If they are long socks, she's not into that. She likes little kid socks that are super stinky, and she loves to eat them whole. And it's gross and bad because it is terrible for her insides, to the point that she will puke until it comes out again. And she'll try to eat it again because, dogs. Um, so, when I moved back in with my parents, I had to be like, please, please, please don't leave your socks out. She will eat them. It will make her so sick. I don't know how many times she can do that before I have to take her to a vet, or before she seriously hurts herself. But please, please, please do not leave your socks out. And so now it's just become a rule to never leave socks out. And it's not because it's to keep the house clean, but it was just because of her dumb puppy butt eating stinky socks. She's a wonderful dog, and she's pretty much let go of all of these bad habits now that she's older. But every once in a while, she'll eat a sock or dig a hole in the backyard, but overall, she has pretty much given up all of these bad habits. The only thing that I think she's kept through her years is her picky eating habits. It's so funny because she won't eat fruits or vegetables for the most part. She's not into things that are squishy. So things like bananas, I've offered her bananas several times in the past, and every time she's acted completely 110% repulsed by me. She just absolutely cannot believe that I would offer her such a disgusting snack. She definitely prefers things that are crunchy, like popcorn or sometimes I'll get this like puppy protein powder onto some cornflakes that I'll add into her dog food because she absolutely goes insane for cornflakes, even though I know they're not really the best nutritionally for dogs. But they're also really not much better than, or much worse than, should I say, than some dog foods that are out there. Since, I mean, the first ingredient's always corn. But overall, Alice is a awesome dog, and she's become an emotional support animal for me uh, through my toughest times. Uh, so yeah, there's a long story time about my dog, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you enjoyed this video of me tarantula grinding and talking about my dog, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It definitely helps out a lot. And I will see you guys next time on Princess Pudding Plays.